A very good morning to all my dear children. And I see how enthusiastically you all are back after a long break. I hope you had a great Rakhi function and you have enjoyed your Independence Day and your good morning wishes. And ma'am, we have revised, make me also equally enthusiastic for today's class. So good morning, Pooja Kumari. Your query will be answered in a while. Great. That means you have studied, that you have come up with a query. Great. Valana, Mr. Valan Xavier. Yes, we can see you here. Miss Pooja, Miss Gunjan, good morning. Gunjan Devi, prima facie means apparently. When we talk about a general rule, it means we use the word, it's a legal term used, that is prima facie. Means देखने में हमें क्या लगता है? Like we have learned about passing of property, prima facie, the risk passes with the property. So generally it is seen that once I've given you the goods, the risk belongs to you. But how it happens, how the things take place, I'll just explain you with examples. All right, Avdesh, good morning. Sanjay, Rohan, Keshav, Pratindya, Ishan, Shrindi, good morning. Yes, bill of exchange is not a document of title here. We are talking whether the payment is being made through a bill of exchange or we are transferring a document of to title. It will be considered as an implied condition has been imposed for reserving the right to transfer. Vibhu, good morning. Anchal, Gunchita, Gurleen, Rajiv, Kumar Singh, Keshav, Mohammed, Sahil, Utsat, Ashish, Anchita, many of you are here with us. Yes, Priya Pandit, thank you so much. Gurleen has gone into endorsement. So endorsement is part of your negotiable instruments, which we'll be covering in CA Inter. So don't worry much about this right now. Manjunathan, Subhasri, good morning. Sangeeta, Vijay, all of you. So Ustad has written a query to us for the cash goods sent on cash on sale or return basis. So definitely what you have written is absolutely correct, but still is Ustad Singh, we will cover this example from the study material itself today as well. Okay, circumstances, right to Miss Neha Agarwal, don't worry, we'll have a quick revision of where the right to reserve is made. Okay, so those who were asking about the query related to a caveat emptor, Gunjan Devi is asking, somebody else was also raising a question, Miss Pooja Kumari is asking why the implied condition does not, of quality and fitness does not apply to trademark. So before proceeding further, let me answer your query, children. When you remember when I told you when the implied condition as to quality and fitness needs to be applied, we have to check certain few points. Wherein you're directly relying upon the seller's skill and judgment. You have made known the purpose for which you are buying the goods. Then, children, it becomes the implied condition on the seller to give you the same things that you are basically looking forward for. But wherein you're simply purchasing a can of Coke, are you relying on my skill and judgment? It's a trade name, it's a trademark, it's a patent which is being carried. In such a case, we say, you can obviously log into the complaint to the exact trademark person or the person who has the source from where the things have come, but you cannot go and have a fight with the seller that, you know, the things were not as per the choice, as per the requirement, I want to return it. So implied condition as to quality and fitness has to be very carefully seen, children, where you're directly relying. Remember the example of pants, where you're going to a tailor, you have told him that I need a pants of my own size, but that tailor is, you know, dealing in some very different kind of stuff. He stitches wedding lehengas only. He's not an ordinary person who stitch for day-to-day pants. So then it is buyer's wrong choice, no? Then the rule of caveat emptor will become applicable, that buyer should be aware that why you are asking for the product from a seller where you're relying on his skill and judgment, and the seller is not, you know, having the efficiency in those kind of things. So that's why they say patent and trademarks, they are excluded from the implied condition as to quality and fitness, because you are not relying upon the seller's skills and judgment. All right, children. So let's have a quick revision of what we have done. We have already started with the chapter 3 last time. Clear intention of parties means what intention they are having. It basically, Gurleen, it means the terms and conditions on the basis of which we have entered into the contract. Good morning, Tejashri, Ms. Divya Kumari, Harshvardhan, Faizan, Pathan, Harshit. Let the buyer be aware. Definitely, Harshit, that's correct. Harnoor and Anushika Agarwal. Ekta is saying, ma'am, condition में हम contract breach कर लें, लेकिन warranty में केवल claim कर सकते हैं. So Ekta Kumari, in both the cases I taught you, where the condition is breached, as a buyer, you have the right to put an end to the contract and claim the money back. If a warranty is breached, you only have the right to claim the damages. All right. Okay. Karuna saying there is no need to be afraid of law. Just start loving the subject and you will start enjoying it. When you read the case studies, just read it like short stories, and more children, when you start revising the content, it gets fed in your subconscious mind. Now, many a times you keep asking, ma'am, yaad nahi hota hai, bhul jata hai. So there is one thumb rule that you have to learn. See, children, law is not something that you can say that I've read the chapter and I'll clear it. So basic understanding is very important. So what you can do is, when in the live classes, make down your notes, write down what the teachers are telling you. After the class, sit down and make proper notes of yourself as well. When you make notes on your own, when you write the content, and study material and my presentations is sufficiently enough. As you keep on asking me, ma'am, do we need to refer any other books? As per me, no need to refer any other books. Your study material is the Bible for all of you. It has covered most of the content, which is basically your examination is a question paper is prepared from whatever is given in the study material. And nowadays, they have so beautifully covered the MCQs also, which broadens your knowledge. It clears your concept more conceptually. You become more clear. Okay, children? So the only need and the only thing that you have to do is that, yes, you have to study. And then you will not be afraid of law. Yes, Lakshita, we'll be talking about goods sent on approval as well. Nemo that Ms. Divya Kumari, again, that will be covered in today's class. So passing of property, this is all what we have done. My all children know now that property means ownership. Now, children, today we are going to cover a very important topic, that is Nemo that quod non habet, which means only an owner can sell the goods further. So for that ownership, please always remember that the person who is having the ownership, that means who is having the property, will only be considered as the owner of the goods. Ms. Manvi Khanna, you'll be able to see PPT of chapter 2 and 3 by tonight or maybe by this weekend. Both the PPTs will be available. Okay, don't worry about that. So passing of property, that means only if the person is the owner, then only he can sell the goods. If I'm not the owner only, then I cannot sell the goods for. Then I don't have the rights to sell the goods for. So we have already understood why the property, how the property passes in specific goods, ascertained, unascertained, everything was done. We have also discussed passing of goods. What is the rule we have to see? How the conduct of parties and circumstances. That means now I have a certain out of 5, 10 washing machines. I've picked up one. I packed it for you and I've told you, I have given the notice to the buyer. Very important line, children. Remember where the goods were to be put in a deliverable state? Where I have put the goods in the deliverable state, I have given the notice to the buyer that now please come and collect your goods. Then only the property is said to be passed. So we learned in case of specific goods, property passes immediately. When you pick up the goods from the shelf, the goods become yours, you pay for that. In case of a certain goods, once you make them, a settlement is done. X buys a television and asks for home delivery. Property immediately passes even if the delivery is pending. Very, very important line. So when we talk about delivery, how the delivery is made today, things will become more fairer. But these are the basic rules that you should remember, that no condition is attached over it. Okay, so once the goods have been sold, I have told the person that your delivery of goods will be made after 1 month or a few months or maybe after 1 day. Property is still with the buyer. Buyer will bear the risk of ownership. Okay, this was also discussed that goods were to be put into a deliverable state. You inform the buyer, it is buyer's responsibility. Carpet example was also talked about in the class. Uncertain goods, no property passes unless the goods are certain. So I think here is something which we were discussing, that in case of uncertain goods, what are the 6 conditions that you have to remember is very, very important. So once the goods match with the description and quality, The goods are in the deliverable state. You told me, ma'am, I want to purchase 1 packet of salt out of this entire lot lying over here with you. So children, what is this entire lot? This entire lot is uncertain goods. Now, when I pick up this 1 packet of salt, it should be as per your description, whatever description and quality you have specified. I have to put it in deliverable state, means all the weighing, measuring, packing has been done. And I called the buyer and told him, come and take up your goods. Did I attach any condition to it? Did I say no, only when you make me the advance payment, then I'll give you the goods? Or I said that no, only if it will rain, then only I'll deliver you the goods? Or I said only if I'll get 50 customers in my shop today, then only I will give the goods to you. I'm not attaching any condition. I simply inform the buyer, come and take your goods. That means unconditional appropriation. I told you last time also, still many of you are asking what is appropriation. Appropriation means selection of goods. So I've selected one, I've picked up one for you, I've chosen this one for you, I've packed it, weighed it, measured it, and I have unconditionally informed the buyer that please come and collect your goods. I do not reserve the right of disposal. What is the meaning of right of disposal? Means how to dispose of the product, that right is with me. Have I reserved it? Section 23 subsection 2 says, no, I have not reserved the right to disposal. I have given it to either to the buyer directly, or I have given to his bailee or any other transporter for taking the goods and delivering it to the buyer. Once I unconditionally appropriate the goods, children, the property is said to be passed. Here, if the goods get damaged or destroyed on the way, buyer will have to bear the risk. Simple. Buyer will have to bear the risk. Any problem occurs, buyer will be liable to bear the risk. Clear? Let's see the further points. It says the valid appropriation means the valid selection of goods to be done. What are the other few rules? Selection must be done either by the seller or by the buyer with the assent of the other party. You told me as a buyer, ma'am, please pick up this goods and pack for me. I did. I said, please go and pick up the goods yourself and get them packed over here. You can also do it. Anyone can pick up and select the goods. Okay. So appropriation is applicable. Yes, P. Vishnu, definitely this appropriation becomes applicable only for the uncertain goods where we need to appropriate them, where we need to segregate them from the lot and we have to pack it for the buyer. Assent means acceptance can be given before or after the appropriation and it can be expressed or implied. All right. Good. Glad, Divya. I'm happy that the concept is now more clearer to you. Case laws, Mr. H. Om Prasad, whatever case laws are covered in the presentations from the mock test papers and study material, that is more than enough. So we discussed about this also, where you're not reserving the right to disposal in case of any accidental loss. Who is going to be held liable? Seller will not be liable, buyer will be liable. So many questions I'm going to ask you on the basis of this today. So I told you 6 marks question in May 2018 and November 2018 also came, and you simply have to remember what are the rules, what are the 6 points we have discussed, and also with examples it can be explained. Now coming back to the topic of goods sent on approval or sale or return basis. Now what happened is, children, many a times the seller gives an opportunity to the buyer. Mr. Karna Singh, mera ek question tha. Yes, Mr. Karna Singh, I have already answered your question that why we feel scared of law. I think this is what only you wrote. You can ask your question again if you have any problems. Lakshita is saying, what is the meaning of vice versa? Means either you select it or I. Vice versa means ulta uska. Chahe aap select kar do, ye yahan pe likha hua hai na. It says that either you give the appropriation is done by the seller with the assent of the buyer, or appropriation is done by the buyer with the assent of the seller. Anyone can do it, okay? Vice versa means either you or I. Now, goods sent on seller and approval, children, pay attention here, and then later on we'll go back to the queries, okay? So when I'm sending, many times seller gives a choice is given to the buyer to see if you like the goods, you can accept them, otherwise you can return them. What did I say? Seller gives the choice to the buyer. So you can see the goods. If you like them, you're fond of it, you accept it or return. So here the contract is specifically on the basis of goods sent on approval or return basis. So this buyer, if he does not like the goods, he can simply go and tell the seller that I'm sorry, I'm not liking this goods, take them back. Now, how it happens, what are the terms and conditions that we need to see? Those are mentioned over here. Number one, when he signifies his approval or acceptance. Now, A told B, A is the seller in our example and B is the buyer. B said, give me 100 bags of sugar, but I will check whether that sugar is fine and I will send my approval, then only I'll accept. Now, here A has sent 100 bags on sale of return or approval basis. Specifically likha hoga us contract mein, they have specifically mentioned that this kind of contract is for sale on approval or return basis. So here 100 bags of sugar, if B says, all right, I accept it, he needs to tell or do something to give his approval, because it is the contract for sale on approval or return. So either you can return it or you can accept. So if the buyer B signifies means bata dena, apni approval de dena, phone kar diya, letter likh di, message bhej diya ki hanji, I have checked, the sugar is fine, this is what I need, I'm accepting. Or he did not say anything, but he retained the goods without giving the notice of rejection. So A told B that for 1 month time I'm giving you. Here time period is very important, children. So A send the goods on sale or approval basis and told B that send me your approval by end of 1 month. So today, what is the date today? It's 17th August, and by 17th September, no reply came back. What did I say? By 17th September, no reply came back. What will A think? Are the goods sold or are they rejected? Law says if you have retained the goods without giving any notice, I gave you a time period of 1 month. 1 month has lapsed. You have not replied. You have kept the goods with yourself. Seller will think goods are sold. Now pay me the price. Now don't come back and say that, ma'am, they were on sale or approval and return basis. Please take them back. I am not going to take the goods back, because now it will be assumed under law that goods are now sold. Samajh aa gaya? Number one, he tells him, B tells you that I want to accept the goods. Number two, he remained quiet, time has lapsed, and it will be assumed that he has accepted the goods. What is the third thing? He does something to the goods which is equivalent to acceptance. Now this B is very smart. Number one, he did not say yes. He did not accept it. Did not send any acceptance. 1 month has also not passed. He has still not given any notice of rejection. But what he did is, B sold these goods further to Mr. C. Can you sell the goods? The goods are lying on approval and return basis, and you have already sold the goods to someone else. Or he pledged the goods further to someone else. Something he has done. When can you do these things? Only when the goods are yours, na? So here A will say that you have sold my goods further to C. It is assumed that now you are the owner of the goods. Therefore, pay the money to the seller A. You have accepted the goods. You have not said yes. You have not said notice of rejection, but you have sold the goods further. That means it will be assumed under law that B has accepted the goods. Clear hogi 3 conditions. Now let us see this beautiful example. Children generally enjoy this guitar example very much. It says P bought the musical instrument on the condition. बहुत जरूरी है, ये condition होनी चाहिए, तभी ये applicable होगा, otherwise sale and approval applicable नहीं होगा. Which condition he purchased the guitar? He said that if he purchase, he will purchase it if he likes, otherwise he'll return it. Now, number one, you will say, ma'am, such a case, it is known as sale on approval and return basis. he can either accept the goods or he can reject it within the time period. So if he accepts, this is first point, when he signifies his approval for acceptance, it will be considered to be accepted. Second point, without notice of rejection, he retained the goods. For example, if he purchased, he will return within 1 week. Let's assume here 1 week's time period was given, but he failed to return the guitar within 1 week. Therefore, since he has retained the goods, it will be considered that the property in the goods has been passed. Now he is bound to make the payment. Seller ko payment karni padegi. It will be assumed that you have accepted the goods. What can be the third thing? He does something which is equivalent to acceptance. So what did he do with this guitar? Very interesting boy. He didn't even say yes. He didn't even reject. But he uses the guitar in an event. This Mr. P, this handsome dude, got up on one Saturday evening and he got to know that 5,000 rupees will be paid to you if you play the guitar in the live music. So he went and he played the guitar in that event. Now, can you do that? You have bought something on approval and return basis. You have not even accepted it. You have not even shown your acceptance. So here, when you are using the guitar in an event, law says it will be assumed that that means you have accepted the goods. तभी use करोगे ना, किसी और की चीज ऐसे तो ना use करोगे. Say for example, in our example of 100 bags sugar, you have utilized 2 bags of sugar in making your teas and coffees at home. Won't you say that I've accepted? Obviously, it means you've accepted the goods. That's why you have used it. Na? So either you use the goods, then also it will be considered you have accepted the goods, or you give your acceptance, or you send a notice of rejection. 3 things में से कुछ भी अगर कर लिया और है, not all of them, any of the thing if it is done, it will be assumed that the property in the goods has been passed to the buyer and now buyer is bound to pay for those goods. Clear हो गया? Let's move ahead. Now, this is very, very interesting point. It says sale for, abhi humne kara approval and return basis. Somebody was asking also in the morning, what is the meaning of sale for cash or return? It says in such sales, the goods will remain the property of the seller till they are paid or until the buyer fulfill the terms of the contract. What is those terms? That is, cash is paid for it. Now, here in this example, the only condition A is selling the goods to B is that goods will become yours only when you pay me the cash price. So say, for example, cash for 10,000 rupees needs to be paid for 100 bags of sugar. So here, unless and until you have not made the payment, property will remain of the seller. This is specifically reserving the right to disposal wala point, children. Here I have imposed a condition. You were asking now what kind of conditions. So cash payment is one kind of the condition which can be imposed. So here when the cash sale is made where you have specifically written that sale on cash and return basis, either you pay my cash or you return my goods. Simple it is. So here the goods remain the property of seller means who remains the owner? Seller itself remains the owner unless and until you have paid for the goods. So once you pay for the goods, then only the buyer will become the owner. Clear here? So now again your section 25, we have already discussed last time also, but still if you have some doubts, we will talk about this. It says X sends furniture to a company by truck and instructs the driver not to deliver the goods until the payment is made by the company. Now, children, reservation of right to disposal can be of 2 types. It can either be expressed or it can be implied. It can either be expressed or it can be implied. Expressed means when A made a contract with B, they have specifically written in the contract that seller has the right to reserve the right to disposal. That means expressly I have mentioned in the contract, then section 23 subsection 2 will not be applicable. I have attached a condition to this appropriation of this. Implied can be where I have not told the buyer, but I have told the truck driver that not to give the goods unless my payment is made. Or where you were asking where the document of title to goods are being used, where I have drawn a bill of exchange or the payment is to be made to a check. Now, children, don't you think where the buyer is going to give me a check, I will be worried unless and until my check gets cleared, then only I will give you the goods. Check bounce bhi to ho sakta hai, dishonor bhi ho sakta hai tomorrow. So I have a doubt in these cases. So it says these are implied conditions. Conditional appropriation is done in such a cases, means unless and until my payment is not clear, the property will pass only when the payment is made. Means who remains the owner over here? You tell me, children. Let me see how nicely you understand. So who remains the owner in the cases of where I've reserved the right to disposal until my condition is fulfilled? So the property will pass only when the payment is made. Clear ho gaya? But who remains the owner in this very case? Buyer or seller? Who remains the owner in this case? Buyer or seller? Will buyer be the owner or seller will be the owner? Abhinav Kumar, I hope now you understood when I spoke it in Hindi also. Huh? How goods are accepted, B becomes the owner. Very good. Nice, nice. Those who have written the doubts. Okay, Mr. Karna Singh, don't worry. When we open the suggested answers, when we go to that, you remind me, we will cover that question as well. Okay. Mr. Varda Fatima, that is a credit sale or cash sale. I told you both the sales are covered in this. Credit sale means later on you will be making me the payment. Excellent. Those who have said the seller will remain the owner, which means when we say the seller remains the owner, means seller will bear the risk of loss. Now, when the goods are in this truck and if the seller has reserved the right to disposal, and say, for example, the goods get destroyed on the way, who will bear the loss? All my children answered the owner is seller. So here, seller will bear the loss. But what did section 23 subsection 2 taught us? Section 23 subsection 2 told us once the goods are given to a carrier or a bailee or a buyer, it will be assumed that now the goods have become of buyer's agent. And if the loss happened, buyer will be responsible. Okay, so you can make notes like this. You can simply remember in section 23 subsection 2, no reservation of right to disposal. Buyer becomes the owner. When does he becomes the owner? When the goods are loaded in the truck and given for transmission. So buyer bears the loss. Section 25. Seller reserves the right of disposal. Seller remains the owner. So seller bears the loss. Clear ho gaya now? Section 25 is absolutely clear. This is the summary what I have written in front of you. You can note it down so that you don't forget. You can write it in your own words also. If the goods have been purchased online till the time the property has not been received, cash has not been paid, it will be seller's responsibility only. How the delivery happens, delay in delivery, that is something which we are going to cover in section 26. Mr. Surya Kumar, your all answers are correct. All of you have written correct, children. Ziba, Kirti, Tanis Sen, Bhargavi, Tapti, Sakaldeep. Good. Priya, Samriti, Surya, children, it's very difficult to take all the names. So well done, all of you. Tushar, Sarvesh, Ankit, Ustad Singh, Priya, Srinidhi. Well done. What does the right of disposal means, love? Miss Gurleen Kaur, you are still wondering on what is the meaning of right of disposal. You tell me what is the meaning of right of disposal. So disposal means to use the product. Say, for example, I sold you this mobile. Now it becomes yours. I am the seller. You are the buyer. You purchase this mobile. Now, whether you throw this mobile in the dustbin, you gift it to your friends, you do whatever you want, that is your right. So how to dispose it, how to use it, those rights are with you. But when section 25 is applied, I have transported this goods to you and I told you that, Gurleen, unless and until you make my payment, I'm not going to give the goods to you. I've not told you, I've told the transporter that don't give the goods to Gurleen because I have a doubt she might not make the payment. So once I get my check account in my, the money is credited in my account, you have paid me 25 to 30,000, whatever is the price for this, then I will say, now you can take the goods. Till then, the goods are at my disposal. Means मैं अपनी मर्जी से अपने goods use कर सकती हूँ. Right to reserve or right of disposal means how to use the goods. So that right has been reserved by the seller. He is holding the goods back with him. He has not given the freedom to the buyer to use the goods. Okay, I hope it's now clear to everyone, those who had the doubt of right of disposal. Yes, Miss Maheen, your answers are coming and you're absolutely correct. Thank you, Simriti. I'm glad that you're enjoying the session and your doubts are getting cleared. Yes, sir, no, you become the owner. Definitely, that's correct. Mahesh Kumar, don't worry, you'll get all the PPTs, children. Clear, now let's pass on ahead. Risk. Yes, Mr. Bijay Gaurav, your answers are also coming. Thank you, Ziba. Children, I can't read all the names. We have just 2 hours and we have to finish the syllabus also. Okay. So one day I'll ask ma'am to keep a specific session where we can just have a interaction so that we can talk. But here we have to teach also along with that. Delivery to a courier for transmission does not reserve the right to sell it. Bilkul. Absolutely, Ankit Mishra, where you have not reserved the right, buyer will bear the loss. Where you have reserved the right, seller will bear the loss. Thank you, Jyoti Jha. I'm glad. Thanks for coming and telling that you have scored such a wonderful marks in your CA foundation. And thanks for your beautiful compliments. Thank you so much. Circumstances may. Miss Neha Agarwal, now you will understand more clear when we talk about section 26. So all the eyes and ears back on the presentation, leave the query session as of now. It says, unless otherwise agreed, the goods remain at the seller's risk until the property is passed. Now, this unless otherwise agreed is a very, very amazing line which is used in law. It means subject to the other terms and conditions. Say if you and me are a buyer and seller, and we have made our own terms. See, Contract Act gives us the freedom to make our own terms and conditions as well. So if we have agreed something else, so I have written in my agreement that you become the owner immediately when I have given the goods to you. Now you are the owner, you will bear the risk. But law says unless you have made any agreement, unless you have made such terms and conditions, if you have not made, your contract is silent upon this, then it will be the seller's risk until the property passed to the buyer. Till the time this mobile phone is in my shop, you have not purchased it, you have not paid me, it is my property. If it falls down from my hand, I will be liable because I am the seller. But the moment I have sold it to you, now you break it, do it, whatever you want. You have paid me the price. I am happy with that. It is your property. Simple logic. Property kiski hai? Who is the owner? I am the owner. I will bear the risk. You are the owner. You will bear the risk. This is what section 26 speaks. The same thing prima facie I told you in the morning also. It means generally talking, the risk is with those who have the property of the goods. Means those who have the ownership. तो फिर मैम प्रॉब्लम है क्या? फिर सेक्शन 26 तो वही कह रहे हैं जो हम सीख रहे हैं. But there are 2 important conditions attached to it. It says, ma'am, you have taught us about the property ownership. What about delivery? So my friend A sell the goods to B and told him that Mr. B, please come and collect your goods after 1 month. क्या बोला उसने? Your goods are ready and please after 1 month come and collect your goods. Property in the goods have already been passed. The delivery was pending. Okay, here only the delivery of goods is pending. We have made the contract. We became the owner. Now this Mr. B did not turn up even after 1 month and the goods got damaged. The goods got destroyed. It rained heavily and all the goods got damaged in A's godown. Who will bear the risk? B or A? चलो आपसे पूछते. मैंने B को कहा after 1 month you can come, but he did not come. Who will bear the risk if the goods get damaged? Thank you, Ms. Doram Lahari. Okay. So who says first? Isha Pandit, Ziba, Doram. Great, all of you. You have answered it so quickly, or you're answering the previous one? Prima facie, Ms. Ziba means, generally speaking, whosoever is having the property is assumed to be the risk bearer. Who will bear the risk? B will bear the risk or A? Excellent. Priya Pandit, Bhargavi, Varda. Neha, it's wrong. Anushka is wrong. Rahul and Dasri, you are also wrong. Ekta is right. Pratindya is right. So all those who have answered B will bear the risk because he is the owner of the goods. That is also absolutely correct, Mr. Vijay. Miss Vinuta, Isha, everyone is correct. Gurleen, Anshuka, Tushar, Surya Kumar. Great. So why? Because now B made there was a fault on the part of the buyer. So whosoever makes a default will bear the risk. Another example. A said that I will deliver the goods to B after 1 month. And if A fails to deliver the goods, within 1 month, then who will bear the risk, children? Then A will bear the risk. It says whosoever delays the delivery by the fault means jiski galati hai. By the fault of either buyer or seller, the goods remain at the risk of the party in default. So whether seller if makes a default in delivery, seller will bear the risk. If buyer makes a default in picking up the goods, buyer will bear the risk. In any case, it says in any case, the duties and liabilities of the seller or buyer as a bailee will not be affected. Now, what is the meaning of bailee? Say, for example, A told you that I will be selling you the goods after 1 month, and now the goods are lying in my godown only for 1 month. Although I have made the sale, but since the delivery is pending, so tomorrow if fire occurs in my godown, won't you act as a bailee for these goods? Won't you try to save the goods which belongs to B as well? So it says as a bailee, your responsibilities have to be taken care of, because if the goods are lying in your godown, the way A is going to take care of his goods, he should also try to save these goods. But if he makes delay in delivery, if he has not given the goods within 1 month and वो वहाँ पे गोदाम में पड़े हुए सड़ गए हैं, खराब हो गए हैं, rotten हो गए हैं, damage हो गए हैं, then it's A's fault. Clear ho gaya? So whosoever is making delay in delivery, 1 month time period we have given you, that is fine. We are talking about what happens if there is a delay. What happens if 1 month has passed and A still don't deliver the goods and fire occurred in his godown, goods got destroyed, A will have to bear the loss. But till then he says that as a bailee, he should take care of the goods. Even when the risk has passed, even if the ownership has been passed, then also you should take care of the goods. Let's cover a few points in the study material first. Then we'll go to the quiz. So here, children, we have done these examples. I suppose 23 subsection 2 was already covered. Goods sent on approval and return basis. Examples, if you want to see, we have already talked about this musical instrument example is covered in my presentation. Another 2 example, number 7 and 8, we can cover from here. Let's read it. A delivered some jewelry to be on sale on return basis. Now you ask me, na ma'am, case study descriptive questions kaise aate hain exam mein? इसी तरह से question, वहाँ एक story दी होती है, summary दी होती है और उसी में से वो question बना कर देते हैं. So study material is already carefully covering all those kind of case studies, all those kind of descriptive questions for you all to prepare. So please don't leave any single example from the study material. My humble request, even if we have not covered all the examples, when you sit for studying, read each and every example of the study material which is given in your books. A delivered some jewelry to be on sale on return basis. So who is the buyer? Who is the seller? A is the seller, and he has given B, the buyer, the goods on sale on return basis. B pledged the jewelry with C. Wow. Now this B is very nice. Jewelry ली sale and return पे ना return करी ना acceptance भेजी और क्या कर दिया? Pledged the jewelry with C. What has he done? What category of the condition he has fulfilled? He has fulfilled this third condition. He does something which is equivalent to accepting the goods. Either he pledges or sells the goods further. Okay. So here the ownership is transferred to B immediately because he has adopted the transaction by pledging the jewelry with C. In this case, A has no right against C. He can only recover the prize money from B. Now, if such a question क्या आएगा exam में ये यहाँ से लेकर यहाँ तक. Examiner will write you that A has sent the goods to B on sale and return basis. B kept quiet, did not send any acceptance or rejection, but B pledged the jewelry with C. According to you, what A needs to do? So your answer will be number 1 point, the concerned provision. This topic relates to goods sent on sale on approval or return basis. In that particular point, what we have learned is if either B accepts the good or if he retains the good without notice of rejection, it will be assumed that the goods have property as passed, or he does something. So 3 conditions you have to write down in the concerned provision, or he does something which is equivalent to accepting the goods. Then you will write the second paragraph, facts of the case. In that you will write, in this particular example, A has given the goods on sale on return basis and B has pledged the goods further to C. Third paragraph, conclusion. Since B has pledged the goods with C, so it will be assumed that the third condition of the goods sent on sale on approval and return basis has been satisfied. He has adopted the transaction by pledging the goods. Now A has no right against C. He can only recover the prize money from them. This conclusion should be part of your answer only after writing concerned provision and facts of the case. This is how you have to answer your answers in the question paper. You will not simply write one-liner conclusion, children. You have to give the background. You have to tell which topic it relates to. You have to share the facts of the cases and then draw your conclusion on the basis of above analysis. Clear ho gaya? Okay. A sends to B a water motor on approval or return in March 2020. Now here A is sending to B a water motor which is on sale on approval and return basis. B was to return it after trial in August 2020. Now which point is being covered? He is covering the second point of time period. The water motor was not returned within reasonable time. Therefore, now A will not take it back and B must pay the price. एक बार acceptance हो गई, then आपको price pay करना पड़ेगा. Now seller is not going to take the goods back. So either you send your acceptance or you remain quiet. Now in this example, Mr. B remained quiet. 1 month has lapsed and he did not revert it. He did not say anything. So A will assume that the goods have been accepted by B and B is now bound to pay the price money. Clear ho gaya? Now in this example number 9 and 7, generally children have a doubt. So it is important to cover example number 9 as well when we talk about 7th example. No, Daneshwar, Dineshwar, full cover. Sections are not important. You can remember the sections if you can. Otherwise, you can leave the sections, but never write wrong sections. That's good, Mr. Sakaldeep. Okay, all right. Sangani, that's right. Okay, children. Now listen to the example of sale for cash and return basis. Miss Rohini Jana, yes, that's clear. Good, Miss Ziba. Now listen to this one. Now in example number 9, children, I'm going to ask you questions. So you pay attention and let's see what answers you have for this. It says A, deliver the goods to B on sale or cash only and return basis. So on the above example, we were talking about sale on approval and return basis. Here, what condition has been attached is that the sale is on cash or return basis. Here it was written that the jewelry will remain A's property until the price is paid. But before the payment of price, B pledged the jewelry with C. At the time of pledge, the ownership was not transferred to B. Therefore, they said that the pledge is now not valid and A could recover the jewelry from C. In example number 7, I just taught you that A has no right against C. And however, he can recover the prize money from B. I gave you the reasons also for this. In example number 9, we are saying that ownership was not given to B and this pledge is not valid and A can recover the prize money from C. Can recover the jewelry or maybe prize money. Why? I want the answers from the class. Why in example number 9 is different from example number 7? What is the difference between example 7 and 9? Both the cases I'm sending the goods on sale on approval and return basis and sale on cash and return basis. So what is the thin line of difference? Why I will not recover the goods from C in example 7 and why I can recover the goods from C in example 9. Yes, Mr. Devesh Kumar, your answers are coming. Mr. Kaime, I just told you how to give the answers. We just talked about Miss Lakshita. I just taught you children. मैंने अभी बताया आप लोगों को कि किस तरह से अपना answer frame करना है. So I hope now you have got to know. Example 9, he can recover. Okay, because there is an excellent Mr. Ustad saying the first one to send because ma'am here the condition of cash was attached. Number 1, the thin line of differences in example 7, the goods are sent on approval and return basis. And under example 9, the goods are sold on cash on return basis. Very good, children. What another difference can be found? Property will not be passed. Miss Tejashri, Bhargavi, Samriti, excellent. Om Kumar, Vijay Gaurav, Navneet, Lakshita, P. Vishnu, Isha Pandit, Kirti. Very nice, children. H. Om Prasad say, ma'am, because ownership was not passed. Very good, excellent. Because ownership has not been passed till you pay me the cash. Here, it is assumed as per C point that when you pledge something, it will be considered that now you're the owner. Therefore, you can sell the goods. Now you pay me the price. In this case, it was specifically written that the goods are A's property. When I am the owner, how can you sell my goods for? Samajh gaye, children? So example 7 and 9 are very, very important. Pratindya, Vaishnavi, Om Kumar, Tapti, Anushka, Saimed, all of you are correct, children. Sehajpreet, yes, that's correct. Nice, children. All of you have written elaborative answers also. Very good. That means you have clearly understood both the points now. Let's move ahead. Reservation of right to disposal we have already discussed. These are the two circumstances again which I want all of you to remember. If the goods are shipped or delivered to railway administration, I told you here seller is prima facie deemed to have reserved the right. So now you know if the goods are coming by bill of lading has been given or railway receipt has been given, then the seller will be liable to bear if any loss is there because it is implied condition that I have reserved the right to disposal. Or a bill of exchange is drawn or a check is drawn on the buyer, then till the time my payment is not made, I will remain the owner. And what are the risks prima facie passes with the property? Iske bhi examples dekh lete hain. I told you the owner must bear the loss or damage unless otherwise agreed. Means if we have agreed that you are the you will only bear the loss, then buyer will only bear the loss. But otherwise, whosoever is having the property will bear the loss. Example number 11 is very, very interesting, children. It says A bids for an antique painting at a sale by auction. Now you all know what is auction sale. You must have covered under contract of Indian Contract Act also. Auction sale means where I have put up the sale in huge lots and bulk, and I have a few things and I want to put up their auction. Means in Hindi we talk it nilami pe bechna. Okay? And different bidders come and they give the prize money, and whatever the prize money suits to the person who is the owner, he'll select that prize money, and at the fall of the hammer he will give his acceptance and the goods will be sold. Now, A was bidding for an antique painting. After the bid, the auctioneer struck his hammer to give the acceptance and he hit the antique, which gets damaged. Very interesting. There was this product which was lying in front of the auctioneer, and this is the hammer that he had to hit to give the acceptance. And hitting it on the table, he by mistake hit it on the product itself, and the painting got broken. Who will bear the loss? Seller or buyer? Tell me. Example number 11, who will bear the loss, seller or buyer, and why? Example number 11, who will bear the loss? So now your prima facie word will also come. Apparently, to whosoever is the owner. Has the contract been completed in this case, children? Number one question is, the contract was to be completed on the fall of hammer. If it would have been that the hammer had been fallen, the property would have been passed to the buyer. Say, for example, there were three children, A, B, and C. A said, I will purchase it for 5,000. B said 6,000. C said 8,000. So I said, I will lock the price at 8,000, and I locked it and I gave the painting to Mr. C. Now who becomes the owner? Mr. C becomes the owner. And while Mr. C was taking the painting home, it got broken. Who will bear the loss? Definitely Mr. C will bear the loss because he has now become the owner. I've given the property to him. But in this very example number 11, the property is still on my table. I am the seller. अभी तो मैं फाइनल कर रही थी तो मैंने ही खुद ही हथौड़ा मारकर वो प्रॉपर्टी तोड़ दी, वो गुड्स ही तोड़ दिए मैंने. So here the loss has to be borne by the seller because the ownership was not yet passed to the buyer. Simple answer. Passing of risk में क्या होना है? या तो ownership ही नहीं pass हुई है. How can you talk about passing of risk to the buyer? But I told you what are the two conditions to which if any delivery is delayed by the fault of buyer and seller, then that person will bear the risk and we have to take care of goods as a bailee. So what happened in example number 12? Yes, you all are correct. Those who have said, ma'am, seller will bear because he was the owner. Absolutely correct. Good. Now let's come to the example number 12. A contracted to sell 100 bales of cotton to B to be delivered in February. B took the delivery part of the cotton but made default in accepting the remaining bales. A ने कहा February आ गया, please अपनी 100 bales of cotton ले जाओ. B ने कुछ तो उठा ली but बाकी रहने दी, भूल गया, टाइम नहीं मिला, default हो गई. Cotton became unfit for use. Who will bear the loss? Buyer will bear the loss because if any party makes a default in picking up the goods, that party will be liable. It says general rule will not affect the duties of buyer and seller, but even though the risk has been passed, now since buyer has made a default, he did not come, A has already given a notice, the cotton became unfit for using, therefore buyer will be liable for the loss of goods. Clear हो गया? Now it says sometimes parties may agree something else means whatever we want. The parties may agree that risk will pass sometime after or before the property has passed. So we have the liberty. Law has given, unless otherwise agreed term, I told you, law has given us the liberty to choose whatever we want to choose. Liability to bear the loss if the property is destroyed, damaged, or deteriorated passes with the ownership. But we can choose to have a different agreement also. I can tell you that I will only be bearing the loss even if you become the owner. Or I can tell you, even though delivery is delayed, you become the owner immediately when the goods are sold. Okay, children. So now let's take a small break and then we will be starting with the non-owners topic. Let's take a small break over here and then we'll start the last topic. Okay? All right, welcome back, children. And Mr. Sudhanshu Shekhar, that's absolutely correct. Obviously, in that painting wala antique painting wala case, auctioneer will be liable. So we were assuming that the auctioneer was the one who was the owner of the goods. So he will be held liable. Mr. Vijay Gaurav, that's correct. Mr. Rachesh, you can send your query again if you want to ask something. Pratindya says section 26, second condition. Child, second condition, simply he tells you that even if the goods delivery is pending with you and the ownership has been passed to the buyer, as a bailee, you still take care of the goods. Say, for example, I remember I taught you one very nice, as a layman's example, I bought few chocolates from your shop. So here you are the seller, I'm the buyer. And I told you that I have to go and purchase few other things, say a birthday party at home, and we have to purchase buntings and other birthday cakes and other things for my home. So please keep these chocolates, packets, and other things that I've purchased and your shop. On my way back, I will collect them from you. So here I told you that tomorrow if theft happens in your shop, as a seller's shop, won't you try to take care of my goods also? So there you are acting as a bailee of the goods. Although you're not the owner, I am the owner. I have only kept my goods in your shop. But law says even if the risk has been passed, your rights and duties as a bailee should not be affected. Means bailee means as a man of ordinary prudence, where you know that the goods belong to someone else, but still as a ordinary man, you should take care of those goods as well. All right. Okay. Yes, Mr. Abhishek, you can ask your question. P. Vishnu says, P sold the goods, paid half amount. I'm holding the goods with the goods. So P. Vishnu, your query will get answered when we talk about delivery of goods. So if half of the goods have been accepted, half are still pending, how the buyer accept the goods, these are part of delivery of goods. So there are certain things that we need to understand that till putting the goods in a deliverable stage. For example, I had to pack the goods and make them deliverable. Then I am responsible till that time, I'm the seller. But once the goods are packed, everything is ready, and I've given the goods to you, then buyer becomes responsible. Okay. Agar kisi case mein yes, Mr. Rohan Kumar, you can use the second provision in the case of bailee that I just told you. Okay, Bhargavi. I think now no more queries you have. Miss Lakshita, we just discussed the two rules of prima facie. Number one, whosoever is at fault will bear the risk. If I am the buyer, you told me that, Harleen, ma'am, you're the buyer, please come and collect your goods. I did not came and collect my goods. I am party in fault. I will bear the risk of loss. If you as the seller, you told me you'll give me the goods after 1 week and 1 week has passed, you did not give me the goods. Now if the goods get destroyed, you as a seller, you will be liable. Miss Jugnu, you can understand in Hindi. So if you have any query, you can ask me specifically. I'll tell you in Hindi also. Okay, children, let's start back with the topic. So children, I hope now section 26, both the ownership is in the hands of the buyer. Ekta Tiwari, if the goods delivery is still pending, that is the specific case where we talk about the bailee. It says duties of buyer and seller both as a bailee for the other party will not be affected. So even if I have, like the same example I just gave you right now. So if my goods are still lying in your shop, you are the seller and I want to purchase something else, then your duties as a bailee should not be affected. Similarly, if I am the buyer, I have taken the goods and I still have to make the payment, I should not destroy and damage your goods. ना ऐसे तो नहीं कह सकते कि अभी पेमेंट नहीं हुई है, ओनरशिप भी पास हुई है, तो सेलर के गुड्स खराब कर दो, तोड़ दो, ऐसे तो नहीं कह सकते ना. एज अ बेली यू हैव टू टेक केयर. Miss Isha Pandit, examiner can give you a straightaway question or can also give you the example that we just discussed in the study material. That can also come as a passing of risk. Children, here you don't need to be worried. You simply need to remember these two conditions. Examiner can straight away give you the kind of question that we have just done in the study material, where 100 bales of cotton wala jo humne abhi discuss kara tha na. There you simply have to write that if delay is made by any party in fault, that party will be held liable. Miss Harnoor, if you have paid for the phone and the contract is complete, you become the owner, and then you say that the phone breaks from your hand, definitely you will be liable for the loss because you're the buyer, you're the owner. Children, you all have to see who is the owner, not just the custody and possession of goods. I've been telling you, whosoever will be the owner, that person will be liable to bear the risk. Now in 2018 May, a simple case has come question will be discussed after rules relating. Okay, this example case study will be discussing after delivery of goods. Now let's start with the transfer of title, section 27, which is very, very, very important. And those who are saying, ma'am, simply we have to run those two conditions in section 26, that is absolutely correct. Along with that example, you can remember whosoever becomes liable, where whosoever is at fault will become liable. Otherwise, in general, prima facie thing is whosoever is the owner of the goods, whosoever is having the property of the goods, that person will be considered as the person who will bear the risk of loss. Thank you, Mr. Sunny. Mr. Sunny says, ma'am, law is becoming easy with you. I'm glad. I'm happy to know that. Mr. Vijay Gaurav, you have to write to the point in examination. You don't have to write stories the way you write in your BCom exam. You have to be very clear to the point. Okay, Pratindya, I'm glad it's clear to you. P. Vishnu has also understood writing. Thank you. Mr. Rajesh is asking, ma'am, if hammer was damaged. So don't ask me such irrelevant questions. What was important over here is that the painting got broken and then who will bear the risk. If the hammer was only damaged, then it is your problem as a seller. Okay, good, Miss Lakshita, nice. Okay, now children, all the eyes and ears back here. Leave the queries, otherwise you jump into very irrelevant things which I am not supposed to answer about. Section 27 to 30 are very, very important. Why they are important? Because I have been singing the song since the chapter started that only the owner can sell the goods. Only the owner will bear the loss. Only the owner have the right to sell. Yahi padha humne abhi tak. But now I am going to teach you, even when you're not the owner, what are the 7 particular cases which are given under section 27 to 30. Then also you can sell the goods. It says where the goods are sold by a person who is not the owner and who does not have the authority to sell the goods, then the buyer will not acquire a good title. That means you cannot sell what you don't have. If this is my water bottle and you have stolen it from me, can you go and sell it in the market? Remember the finder of lost goods in Indian contract also, you must have studied about that. That if the true owner is found, you are bound to return the goods to the true owner. You have also studied under breach of implied condition as to title. What was condition as to title? Chalo, test le lete hain. Because you all are very actively listening today. So your test is, what do you remember about condition as to title? What happens if the condition as to title is breached? Breached means agar wo title, remember what is the meaning of title? Title means ownership. Title means ownership. So if the condition as to title is breached, if you're not the owner, what was the things that I have taught you? Give me the answer. What happened? What are the implications of breach of implied condition as to title? What do you used to do? I'm waiting for the answers, children. मिस जुगनू, आप कह रहे हैं कि हिंदी में बात कीजिए बच्चा. मैं पूरा हिंदी में लेक्चर नहीं ले सकती हूँ, बट आपके लिए मैं क्वेश्चन हिंदी में बोल देती हूँ. टाइटल मीन्स ओनरशिप. टाइटल का मतलब होता है कि आप ओनर हैं गुड्स के. तो अगर आप ओनर नहीं है तो ब्रीच अगर आप करते हैं एम्प्लॉयड कंडीशन, तो मैंने क्या बताया था आपको, उसका आपने आंसर देना है. व्हाट हैपेंस ऑफ द ब्रीच ऑफ एम्प्लॉयड कंडीशन एज टू टाइटल. Very good, Miss Maheen, Begum, Gunjan, Anjana, Navneet, Varda, Kirti, Ekta, Sehjpreet, Ankit, Mishra. Thank you, Miss Anjana. I'm so glad to read this, that you're enjoying and law is easy for you. Good. Original owner has the right to take back the goods. Excellent, Kirti. And what will happen? The prize money, how it has to be recovered? Pura likhna chahiye tha bachcho. Seller can recover the goods and the party can recover the money. Very good, Mr. Navneet. Excellent, children. Patandya, Anushka, Masoom, Vijay. ये जो लेट आ रहे हैं आंसर्स लेट दे रहे हैं मुझे लग रहा है ये पीछे रेफर कर रहे थे बुक को. हाँ, they it took them time to cheat and find the answers. If the title is defected, buyer is bound to return the goods to true owner and recover the prize money from the false owner. Okay, from the seller you can use, Mr. Vijay Gaurav. False owner, okay. Good. Miss Manshi says aggrieved party can claim and recover. Good, good, children. All right. So this is what I have taught you, that if the implied condition as to title is breached, the true owner can come and recover the goods back from the buyer and the buyer will recover the prize money back from the seller. Chahe ab seller keh lo ya false owner keh lo, whosoever is the person who has cheated you, who was not the owner, you can recover your prize money. So what does this mean? It means that if the goods are being sold by a person who is not the owner, buyer will not get a good title. You cannot acquire a title. You cannot be the owner. It will be breach of implied condition as to title and the goods will be taken back by the true. But section 27 tells you that in order to protect the innocent buyers, आप कह रहे थे ना उस टाइम मैम बायर के साथ तो बड़ा गलत हो रहा है. आपने implied warranty भी पढ़ा था. पोजेशन उसकी अगर हम डिस्टर्ब करते हैं, undisturbed possession, implied warranty. Remember the first implied warranty that also gets disturbed when the true owner comes and take back the goods. And even here you are taking that tractor back from him. So law says in order to protect these innocent buyers, जिनकी कोई गलती नहीं है, इन्होंने तो seller से सामान खरीदा तो seller ने चोरी करी हुई थी ना, seller was at fault. Then why are you making these innocent buyers bear the loss? Why are you making them suffer? So law made 7 such particular cases where even if the person is not the owner, he can still sell the goods further, provided certain conditions need to be satisfied. And yes, you have to learn those conditions. So it says, nemo that quod non habet is the Latin maxim that they use. This is the word language that they use. It says, no one can give what he has not got. Children, tell me one thing. You have departmental stores, grocery stores in your sectors or lanes where you live. Can you just go and pick up a packet of chips and sell it to someone else? Can you do that? It's the owner, the shopkeeper who is the owner of that shop. How can you sell someone else's goods? So loss is general meaning. तो जब तक आप owner नहीं है. Yes, you purchased 5 packets of Doritos and you sold them further to your friends or you gifted them. Do whatever you want to them. You have to be the owner of the goods. Then only you can sell the goods for. Unless and until you're not the owner, you cannot even touch someone else's goods. है ना? वो तो फिर theft हो जाएगा, चोरी हो जाएगी अगर आप किसी और के चीजें लेकर बेचो. बट वो कहते हैं एक्सेप्शंस क्या है? वो कहते हैं एक्सेप्शन नंबर 1 है सेल बाय मर्केंटाइल एजेंट. रिमेंबर हु इज अ मर्केंटाइल एजेंट? हरलीन मैम wants to open up a shop in Delhi and I am currently in Chandigarh and I appointed Mr. A in Delhi to open up a shop and work as a merchandiser on behalf of my company. So I am a cloth merchant. I am sending the cloths to Mr. A and that Mr. A is selling the goods on my behalf. Is Mr. A the owner of the goods? If Mr. A is working as a mercantile agent whom I have appointed, is he the owner of the goods? Yes, Lakshita, bicycle example, that was absolutely correct. Very good. Anushka, Zeeba, Vijay and Sunny, the first one to answer. Goods sold on our behalf. Excellent. The goods are being sold on our behalf. They are not the owner. But फिर भी तो वो सेल कर रहे हैं ना. फिर भी वो क्यों सेल कर सकते हैं? Because section 27 में exception में उनको right दिया गया है that even if you are not the owner of the goods, you can sell the goods as owner. What are the conditions to be satisfied? I'll teach you each and every condition when we go in the study material. We talk about each and every topic. Here you simply understand a bit what are the conditions what are the few points which needs to be seen. Number 1, sale by mercantilization. Number 2, sale by one or more joint owners. So if A, B, C and D are joint owners of a car, so they have Maruti 800 and 4 people are jointly owning that choti si Maruti 800. So now law says even if 4 of you are the joint owners, 25%, 25%, 100% share, चारों में तीन divided है, 25% share. So here, even if you're the joint owners, any one of the joint owner can also sell the car for them. How they can send it, whether they have taken the consent of B and C, what are the conditions, we'll just learn about them. So mercantile agent can also sell even if he's not the owner. If you're a joint owner means you're only 25% owner of the goods, then also you can sell the goods. Sale by a person in possession under voidable contract. Children, when is the contract said to be voidable? Before opening the study, let me see if you remember. When is the contract said to be voidable? Many children has written, no ma'am, he cannot sell the goods because he's not the owner. So today I'm going to tell you why he can sell the goods even if he's not the owner. Okay. Yes, Ankit Mishra, that's correct. Mr. Govind. Yes, Anushka, that's absolutely correct. So when the contract becomes voidable, children, you remember Indian Contract Act. When your free consent is not obtained, the contract becomes voidable at the option of one or the other party. What are the 5 cases when the consent is not said to be a free consent? Can I get the answers? When the consent is said to be not free consent. Maheen Begum is going to be the winner of my class today. Coercion, undue influence, fraud. What about the other 2? Mr. Sunny has written another 2 also. Great. Mr. Richesh is right at the option of one of the party contract is void. Excellent, children. Dineshwar is only talking about fraud. What about coercion, undue influence, mistake, misrepresentation, children? Keep revising what you have done, okay? So the contract become Mr. Om Prince has given all the 5. Good. Nice. Sahajpreet Kaur has also given all the 5. Yes, Ms. Vaishnavi, one party can perform the contract or he can put an end to the contract. Contract becomes voidable at the option of one or more parties. Excellent. Isha Pandit, Gunchita, Samed, Omkar, Pratindya, Anchita, Tarun Singla, Vaishnavi, Mahesh, MP Zahir, Sakaldeep, Tanishka, all of you. Priya. Nice. Varda, Neha, great. So children, here today you will learn interesting thing that even if you have purchased the goods under coercion or by undue influence, then even if you're not the owner, still you can sell the goods further. Till the time this contract is voidable, it has not been avoided by the other party, you can sell the goods to a third party as well. 4th is the case when the person has already sold the good but continues to be in the possession of the goods. So let's go back to the same example. I kept my chocolates in your shop. I have already purchased them. And you as a seller were holding my packet in your shop. You saw Mr. C entered the shop. You were already in possession of my goods. You thought Mr. C is paying a better price. You sold my goods to Mr. C. ऐसे भी कर सकते हो आप. Provided the seller is in the possession of the goods. At times what happens is, this is a layman's example, but at times in big contract, where A has contracted with B that I will sell you 100 bags of sugar. There, where the 100 bags of sugar are already lying in A's shop and he get a better buyer for the same 100 bags of sugar, somebody is paying a higher price. Then if A continues to be in the possession of the goods, a new buyer is not aware that the goods are already sold, then such a sale is also possible. एग्जाम्पल से और क्लियर हो जाएगा. अभी तो हम सिर्फ एक छोटी सी रीडिंग दे रहे हैं, एक एक पॉइंट करेंगे हम स्टडी में. Effect of estoppel. You know what is the meaning of estoppel? Again, under minor contract, you must have heard the word estoppel, or even if you have not heard, I can explain you. Estoppel means once if you have accepted something, you cannot deny it later on. Say, for example, if you are the shop owner and I am standing in your shop as a friend, and tomorrow a customer comes and I start selling the goods. हाँ जी ये बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत बढ़िया खरीद. And the person who is buying the goods is thinking that I am the owner. Although you are the owner. Who wants to be the owner? Let's take up your names today, children, in the examples. You people are writing so nice answers. My God, very nice. Vaishnavi is saying, ma'am, Hindi में एक बार और समझा दो. बच्चा, Hindi is not allowed to us so much. Yes, Mr. Shivam, we are getting your mistress. We have to take care of all the students, our bunch of students who are with us. Okay. Mr. Mahesh Kumar, right. Estoppel means something which once you stand, you can't be. Yes, Miss Singh, Rajiv Kumar, excellent. Sehajpreet Kaur says who acknowledges something. Very nice, children. So you know the meaning of estoppel. So let's take example of Sehajpreet Kaur. So Sehajpreet Kaur is the owner of the goods, and I was standing in her shop, and I was also selling the goods and all. Although she's the owner, but I was also helping her to sell the goods. Now this buyer, Miss Singh Rajiv Kumar, came to the shop, and Rajiv Kumar thought that Harleen ma'am is the owner, and Sehajpreet remained quiet. Remain quiet means that she has acknowledged that Harleen is the owner of the goods. Now tomorrow, if Rajiv is not satisfied with the goods, he can hold the seller also responsible. That is, me as a seller can also be held liable, because there is the effect of estoppel. Even if I'm not the owner of the goods, because of Sehajpreet's silence, it was assumed that I am selling the goods as the owner. Okay. Thank you, Miss Isha Pandit. That's so nice of you. So effect of estoppel means that once you're selling the goods, even if you're not the owner, you are making the other person believe as if you're the owner of the goods. Then tomorrow you cannot deny that no, I was not the owner of the goods. Owner तो सहजप्रीत है, मैंने तो कुछ करा ही नहीं है. तो बाद में आप मुकर नहीं सकते. हिंदी में बोलते हैं मुकरना नहीं है, डिनाई नहीं करना है. एक बार अगर आपने estoppel वाला effect ले लिया, then that is also covered as an exception to the non-owner. It will be considered it is a valid sale even if you're not the owner. Sale by unpaid seller तो हम आज पढ़ेंगे ही नहीं, because this is your chapter number 4. We will cover it too. Sale by a buyer obtaining possession before the property vested in him. So here the seller, earlier in the 4th example, the seller was selling if he was having the goods. Here the buyer, before becoming the owner, even if the goods are with him, he can also sell it if few conditions are satisfied. And under the provisions of other acts means a finder of lost goods, and when the goods are being pledged. Remember under pledge transaction, what I taught you? So for example, I have taken loan from the bank for rupees 10,000. 10,000 is the standard figure I have been taking. So if I have taken loan of rupees 10,000 from the bank, and I pledged my gold with the bank, and I told bank that on December 2022, I will make you the payment. Now December 2022 has come. I did not make the payment. What will bank do? You have to answer me. I'm not going to answer you. Yes, you have to tell me what can bank do. Yes, Mr. Avinash, correct. Mr. Shivam Sharma, आपके सारे मैसेज आ रहे हैं और आपके आंसर भी ठीक थे बच्चा, डोंट वरी. Sell your gold. Silence is equal to speech. Take loan from bank and pledge. Good. Good, Mr. Vijay, Ziba, Anjana, Harnoor. Nice. Okay, Mr. Tarun Singla, we can do that as well. Vested means with whom it lies, Miss Vagdevi, with whom the property lies. Vested means जिसके पास है, before the property vested, उसके आने से पहले, means property अभी मिली भी नहीं थी. Bank can sell my gold. Excellent. Many of you said. Now, was bank the owner of my goods? Owner नहीं था ना, फिर भी बेच दिया. Because there was a breach of condition. I have told him that I'm pledging my goods. I will pay you the amount. Now, if I not pay you the amount, bank can sell my gold. So law says these are the other provision of the acts where the bankers or any other persons, the person with whom you have pledged the goods, the pledgees, they are given the right to sell the goods even if they are non-owners, even if they are not the owners, due to certain other rights which are not fulfilled, they can sell your goods. All right, children. So now let's cover, see in May 2019, straight away question has come. A non-owner can convey better title to a bona fide purchaser for value. Discuss the cases where the person other than owner can transfer of title in the goods. Now 6 marks question, straight away आपने history, geography लिख देनी है जो हमने study material से भी पढ़ने जा रहे हैं. 6 के 6 पॉइंट्स आप 7 भी लिख सकते हैं, 6 भी लिख सकते हैं, बट इट्स अ स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन. So let's talk about the one by one points we'll be covering, and we'll also be doing the examples. Just have a sip of water. Now, all of you be back here on the screen. You have to pay attention. No, Miss Arya, you cannot use the word bank will become the owner. Bank has the right to sell the goods, even though he remains the non-owner under section 27 to 30. He falls under the exceptions. The pledge transaction falls under the exceptions. So you have to be very careful, children, what you're writing the answers in the exam. Your concept is clear, but the answers should also be very much clear. Okay. Now, as a general rule, seller can only sell the goods. He's the absolute owner. I just told you. No one can give what he does not has. So example 13 says, A sells some stolen goods to B in good faith, and B will not get title because the true owner has the right to take them back. इसके आगे लिख लेना breach of implied condition as to title. ठीक है, आपको आता ही, आपने ही मुझे भी आंसर दिया था ना, breach of implied condition as to title, that if person is not the owner, then the goods can be taken back by the true owner and buyer will recover the price. Second example 14 is of hire purchase. Very, very important, children. Again, you have to answer me. I'm not going to answer you. This is test of unit 1 hire purchase topic. P, the hirer of vehicle. Hirer means जिसने hire purchase पे लिए vehicle. Sells them to Q. Q through a bona fide purchaser does not acquire the ownership. He only gets the rights of the hirer. क्या मतलब हुआ इसका? Who was P? P was the hirer of the vehicle. He sell the goods to Q. So I think P has already purchased the vehicle under hire purchase. Till the time P does not make all the payments, P will not become the owner. It says the purchaser will not get the ownership because P himself was not the owner. So hire purchase agreements are not covered under the exceptions, which means only if you're the owner, you can sell the goods. If you have taken anything on hire purchase, children, unless and until you have paid all the installments, then only you become the owner and then only you can sell the goods for. Clear ho gaya? So you can write down under hire purchase agreement. Under hire purchase agreement, the hirer, the person, the buyer should pay all the installments and then he becomes the owner. Only after that, buyer can sell the goods further. Only after that, buyer can sell the goods further. Clear ho gaya? Thank you so much, Miss Sangini Kori. I'm glad you are enjoying the explanation. That's good. Yes, Miss Saima, P only has the position and not the ownership. Excellent. Miss Kirti is writing a very beautiful line. P still remains the bailee until the last installment. Very good, children. You're using law language. I'm very proud of you. Himanshu Gupta is back today. Only hirer, not an owner. Good, Himanshu. P paid all the installment once. Yes. Okay. So understood, children, even under hire purchase, if I straight away give you the question that the transaction of hire purchase, can the person who has taken the goods on hire purchase sell the goods further? You will simply say that no, it will not fall under the exceptions. Did I told you any of the exceptions of hire purchase? I never mentioned about that. So hire purchase is strictly no in case of sale of goods is made by the true owner. Only when you have the ownership, then only you can transfer the goods. But I told you connected. All right, children. So some network error and it just flew away. Okay, Khushi, Bibuhu, Pratinda, I hope now you can see me. Priya, Isha, all of you. So where were we? I told you that I have appointed Mr. A as my mercantile agent. So is he having the possession of my goods with my consent? Yes, ma'am, he is holding the goods with your consent. Sale was made by him in the ordinary course of business as a mercantile agent. Now this Mr. A further sell the goods to Mr. B. In the ordinary course of business he is doing, yes, in the course of business he was a cloth merchant, I am a cloth merchant, he's also dealing in the cloth, I have sent him the cloth and now he sell my cloth further as a part of business. Yes, he can do that. Has the buyer B, जो नया buyer है जिसने goods लिए हैं, has he acted in good faith and had no notice that the seller had no authority to sell? Now what is this meaning of second line? इसको छोड़ दो अभी के लिए. But has the buyer acted in good faith? What is the meaning of good faith? This buyer, Mr. B, came to your shop. You are Mr. A, mercantile agent, and he thought that you are the owner and he purchased the goods from you. This is what is the meaning of buyer acting in good faith. Means he's assuming that you are the owner, you have opened up this shop. उसको कोई लेना देना नहीं है आप किसी के agent हो या owner चंडीगढ़ में बैठा है, दिल्ली में बैठा है, कहाँ पे. All right. So buyer acting in good faith means he's not stealing the things, he's making you the payment and he's buying the things. Now, point number 4, what is the meaning of no notice of the seller has no authority to sell? Say, for example, I have given a notice to Mr. A that, look, you can be acting as my mercantile agent only for 1 month. And after 1 month, you have no authority to sell. Now here, if such a kind of notice has been given, then this mercantile agent cannot sell my goods after 1 month's period. But where the buyer is not having any notice, where no such notice has been given, no authority disapproval has been given to the mercantile agent, till then it will be assumed the buyer is acting in good faith and he has no awareness that this person has no authority to sell. All right, till then the mercantile agent, whatever sale is made by mercantile agent will be considered valid. So provision to section 27 simply makes you clear that buyer is acting in good faith और उसको कोई लेना देना नहीं है कि आप ओनर हो या नहीं हो. वो यही समझ रहा है कि आप अगर दुकान चला रहे हो आप ही ओनर हो. ऑल्दो अथॉरिटी टू सेल आपके मेन ओनर जो कि मैं हूँ मेरे पास है, एजेंट मेरा जो है वो ओनर नहीं है, बट बायर को इस चीज की कोई अवेयरनेस नहीं है. ही हैज नो नोटिस दैट द सेलर हैड नो अथॉरिटी टू सेल. Mercantile agent means a person who is appointed to sell the goods, consign the goods, buy the goods, raise money. So all those who are asking consignment is also covered under mercantile agent. Also, he can pledge my goods. Definition section 2 subsection 9 हम already कर चुके. Clear हो गया? So if these 3 conditions are satisfied, mercantile agent can sell my goods. Sale by joint owners. A, B, C are 3 brothers and the joint owners of television and VCR. क्या क्या है इनके पास? टेलीविजन है एंड वीसीआर है. Now when you sell by joint owners, children, even if this person is having the sole possession with the permission of co-owners, property can be transferred to any person who buys in good faith and has no knowledge that the seller had no authority to sell. Now this line of seller had no authority to sell का हिंदी में मतलब होता है कि बायर को नहीं पता कि आप ओनर नहीं हो. Buyer is very innocent. He doesn't know whether you have few other joint owners or not. He is thinking that you are the owner. No authority to sell means as if you don't have any permission to sell. Generally, the owners have the authority to sell. Na? So here he is using for mercantile agent and joint owners. This specifically tell you that the buyer is buying in good faith and having no notice that the seller had no authority to sell. Means he's not aware of this fact that either you are a joint owner, he's assuming that you are the full owner of the goods. So law says that if there are certain joint owners and with the permission of the co-owners, if I am having the sole possession means मेरे पास है वो चीज. अगर ये बॉटल हम तीनों ने joint ownership है और बी एंड सी के परमिशन के साथ मैंने ये वाटर बॉटल अपने पास रखी हुई, इसका मतलब होता है सोल पोजेशन. So A, B, C are three brothers. They were the joint owners of television and VCR, and with the consent of B and C, VCR was kept in the possession of A. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट लाइन है, with the consent of B and C, परमिशन ली हुई है उसने को-ओनर से. A sells the TV and VCR to P. P is buying in good faith and without notice that A had no authority to sell. Here P gets a good title, means he will be considered as a valid sale and P will be considered to be a valid buyer and he will get the ownership immediately. Why? Because this is the case of sale by joint owners. A was holding the goods with permission of B and C. P was buying the goods in good faith and was not having any notice that the seller had no authority to sell. Therefore, P gets a good title. Exam में आपने ये चारों conditions लिख कर prove करना है point कि yes, these are the four conditions which were satisfied. That is why P gets a good title. Clear हो गया चलो. Now let's see the third point. Sale by person in possession under voidable contract. So I told you, when is the contract voidable? It is voidable when the contract is obtained by coercion, fraud, misrepresentation, undue influence, and the contract has not been rescinded until the time of sale. Avoidable क्या होता है? Either you can put an end to the contract or you can continue with the same contract. So here, if it is a voidable contract and the other party has still not put an end to it, he has not gone to the court, he has not taken any action, and you make the sale in between. Meanwhile, you sell the goods further. So it will still be considered as a valid sale. बड़ी हैरानी की बात है, but ये सच है. पढ़ते हैं section 29. What does it say? So coercion means at a gunshot. I came to your shop and I put a gun on your head and I said, sell me your car. What will you do? उस वक्त आप 100 नंबर घुमाओगे या फटाफट से गाड़ी बेच दोगे? गन आपके सिर पे. Coercion, undue influence, pressure है, physical threat. You will immediately give me the car keys. After that, what you will do with me, that the God knows, because at a gunshot, it's illegal activity that I'm doing. I'm doing coercion. So here the contract is a forceful contract. I have not obtained a free consent from you. So the contract becomes voidable. Now, if I took that car from you under a voidable contract, and before you took any action against me, I sold the car to someone else. Now law says this innocent buyer who has taken the car from me will get the true ownership, even if I was not the owner of the goods, even if I have taken the contract, even if I have taken the car under a voidable contract. Let us see the example. X fraudulently obtains a diamond ring from Y. X ने fraud से, इसने कौन सा वाला यूज करा? मैंने coercion यूज करा, इसने fraud यूज करा. So fraud से इसने ring ले ली Y से. Now contract is voidable at the option of Y. Y can terminate the contract, but before it is terminated, X ने वो ring Z को बेच. Now Z gets the title and Y cannot recover this ring from Z, even if the contract is subsequently set aside. See what Y is going to do with X, that he can do. Obviously complaint file करेगा, action लेगा, वो तो करेगा ही. हमने यहाँ बात करनी है ownership transfer करनी. Many times when I discuss this point, children go back and what Y will do with X. That is altogether a separate story that you have learned under Indian Contract Act, what all actions you can take if the contract is voidable under such consents. But here we are trying to understand that if X has obtained that diamond ring from Y with the fraud, and before the contract is terminated, X sold that ring to Z. Now this line is very important. Before the contract is terminated means we are considering that contract which was voidable at the option of Y that has not yet been terminated and meanwhile has sold the ring to Z. So two conditions have to be seen. Z is an innocent purchaser. He gets a good title. And now this Y, who was the true owner, cannot recover the ring from Z. Even if he subsequently set aside, taken action against X, वो ring वापस Z से नहीं ले सकता. Can he recover the prize money or the case can be filed against X? That is a separate story. But Z will get the true title because it is the case covered under section 29. Clear हो गया? Let's move to the fourth point. Sale by a person who has already sold the goods but continues in possession. अब एग्जाम्पल पढ़ते हैं, हमने चॉकलेट्स वाला तो देख लिया था, एक थोड़ा कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल वाला पढ़ते हैं. ड्यूरिंग आईपीएल मैचेस पी बायज अ टीवी सेट फ्रॉम आर. पी ने टीवी सेट खरीदा आर से. आर इज अ सेलर. आर एग्रीज टू डिलीवर द सेम टू पी आफ्टर सम डेज. आर ने कहा ठीक है मैचेस वगैरह चल रहे हैं, मुझे पता है तुझे टीवी बहुत जरूरी चाहिए, मैच देखना है तुम्हें, तब तक तू लैपटॉप एंड मॉनिटर वगैरह अपना यूज कर, मैं आफ्टर फ्यू डेज आई विल डिलीवर यू द टेलीविजन. मीनवाइल एस आ गया आर की शॉप में. उसने कहा यार यू आर सेइंग 30,000, आई एम रेडी टू पे 35,000 फॉर दिस टेलीविजन, इट इज सच अ नाइस टेलीविजन. लालच आएगा ना आर को, सेलर को, यार मैं 30,000 में टीवी बेच रहा था, यहाँ 35,000 में somebody is buying. He quickly sold it to S, who buys in good faith and has no knowledge about previous sale. बहुत जरूरी बात है. S को नहीं पता कि R पहले से ही टीवी P को बेच चुका है. I am explaining all the conditions in Hindi also so that those who were suffering can understand, please. And my English friends, I hope you have understood. R can sell the television to S provided S is buying in good faith, means he's a genuine buyer, he's not stealing, he's paying you the price, and he has no knowledge that this television has been sold to P. What is P gonna do with R? We are not worried, we are just worried, can the seller do so? Your answer will be yes, ma'am. Section 30 subsection 1 tells you that if the seller is continuing in the possession of the goods, he can sell them to third person if this third person takes the delivery in good faith and without the notice of previous sale. So what are the 4 points? Number 1, person has sold the goods, but he continues to be in possession of the goods. Seller के पास goods होने चाहिए, possession होनी चाहिए. He can sell them to third party. Third party is purchasing in good faith. Third party has no knowledge of the previous sale. Then he gets the good title. That means he becomes the owner of the goods. Okay, clear? Now, sale by buyer obtaining the possession before the property in the goods has vested in him. Now, this is very interesting. It says seller ने कर लिया, अगर उसके पास possession में थे तो उसने goods बेच दिया. मैम समझ आ गया, लालच आया, higher price मिला तो goods बेच दिए. Buyer कब करेगा? It says where the buyer, इसके भी points बना लो, where the buyer with the consent of the seller obtains the possession of the goods. Number 2, before the property has passed to him. Vested in him means passed to him. Okay, vested in him means passed. Before the property is given, बायर ने सेलर को कहा कि इससे पहले कि तुम मुझे ओनरशिप ट्रांसफर करे, ये गुड्स मैं घर लेकर जा रहा हूं. Then he may sell, pledge or dispose of this goods to third person, provided and if such person obtain the delivery in good faith and without the notice of lien or other right of the original seller on them. उसको नहीं पता कि बायर के गुड्स नहीं है, ये तो सेलर के गुड्स हैं. जो न्यू बायर है, इनोसेंट परचेजर है, he is not aware of this fact. Then the buyer will get a good title to the goods. Clear हो गया children? And very important line. It says here a person in possession under hire purchase agreement will only get an option to buy is not covered under this section unless it amounts to sale. क्या मतलब हुआ? वो कह रहे हैं जो पहले मैंने शुरू में एग्जांपल आपको बताया कि हायर परचेज मत ले आना सेक्शन 30 सब सेक्शन 2 में, वो तो कवर नहीं होता अनलेस आप सारी इंस्टॉलमेंट्स पे नहीं करोगे, सेल कंप्लीट नहीं होगी, आप सेल नहीं कर सकते. सो हायर परचेज इज नॉट कवर्ड अंडर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ सेल मेड बाय नॉन ओनर्स. But where other than hire purchase, if you have taken the possession of goods with the consent of the seller, goods are lying in your custody and you sell it to third party in good faith without the third party knowing that you are not the owner, then the third party will get a good title. So example number 18 directly deals with the hire purchase. Again, it says A took a car from B on this condition that A will pay monthly installments as hire charges. So A ने गाड़ी ली है hire purchase पे, he is an hirer and he has an option to make the payment of installments 1 lakh in 24 installments. So payment of 1 lakh was to be made. So he said monthly installment of rupees 5,000 I will be paying you with interest. After the payment of few installments, A sold the car to C. This cannot happen at all. B will go and recover the car from C because A had neither bought the car nor agreed to buy. There was neither a sale nor agreement to sell. ये तो hire purchase था. Hire purchase में तो जब तक आप installments नहीं pay करोगे, you will not become the owner. He only had an option to buy the car. You only had an option. You have not purchased it. You have not become the owner. Therefore, B will quickly go and recover his car back from C. Wherein you have purchased the car and bank has given you a loan for that and you are making the loan payments for that, that is altogether a separate story. But on hire purchase transaction, you do not become the owner until and unless last installment is paid. Clear, children? And what is the effect of estoppel? It says where the owner is stopped from the conduct from denying the seller's authority, transferee will get a good title against the true owner. But before a good title by estoppel can be made, the true owner had suffered or held in the question has the authority to sell the goods. Let us understand with the help of example. A said to be a buyer in the presence of C. So ये C कौन था? ये C एक ओनर था गुड्स का और A मान लेते हैं उसका फ्रेंड है. So C is the owner and A is a friend. So B is the buyer. ये बहुत जरूरी होता है बच्चे, पहले लिख लिया करो ताकि आपको पता हो कौन क्या. So A said to be a buyer in presence of C, the owner, that A is the owner of the horse. So एक horse था. ठीक है. My drawing is not very good. It's looking like a pig or a mouse. So this was the kind of horse. And A said that this is my horse. Who is the real owner? C is the real owner. And C remained quiet. C chup raha, although the horse belonged to him. So C was the owner of the horse. A said, this is my horse. And C remained quiet. B ने horse खरीद लिया. B said, अच्छा यार ये तेरा horse बड़ा अच्छा है, मैं purchase कर लेता हूँ. Now children, will B get a valid title? Law says yes, B will get a valid title even though the seller had no title to the horse. Even though this A was actually not the owner, but C by his own conduct has prevented from denying A's authority. C remained silent means he has effect of estoppel has been applied. Here it has to be believed that A is the true owner and B is buying the goods in good faith. Therefore, B will get a good title to the goods. Understood, children? It says C's silence has induced B to believe that A is the true owner. Because C remained silent, therefore B trusted that A is the true owner. Therefore, A had the right to sell the goods to B. Now, tomorrow, if horse has any problem or the buyer has any things, who has actually suffered means any problem occur, A will be considered to be the true owner and he will come back to A and he will discuss with him because A will be considered as the seller in this case, even if he is not the owner of the goods. Samajh aa gaya, children? And these are the last few points where it says by sale under the provisions of various acts. Sale by pawnee and pledgee, I have already explained you. Pledge में कैसे bank sale कर सकता है. Finder of lost goods, you have covered under section 169 of Indian contract also. If you find some lost goods, you can still sell them further if the cost of finding the true owner is higher than the selling the goods. And sale by an official liquidator or receiver कौन होते हैं? See children, if the person is declared insolvent, I told you in the example when we did the definitions of insolvent. So if the person gets insolvent means he doesn't have enough money to pay off his debts, then all of his property lies with the official receiver. Or if the company is declared insolvent, then whole of the property of company lies with the liquidator of the company. So these are the people who are appointed by the law. They, not being the owner of your goods, also can still sell you goods. So for example, Mr. A was declared insolvent. So official receiver was appointed by law to take care of his property. Now this official assigner can sell off the assets of A in order to dispose of his liabilities. तो ए क्या करेगा, ऑफिशियल रिसीवर क्या करेगा, बैलेंस शीट देगा, एक ही देखेगा क्या क्या एसेट्स पड़े हैं, क्या क्या लाइबिलिटीज डिस्पोज ऑफ होने वाली है. तो ए अगर ऑफिशियल रिसीवर अगर नहीं भी ओनर है ए के गुड्स का, still law has given him the right that even if you're non-owner, you can sell off the goods in the market and pay off the liabilities of Mr. A. Similarly, company का liquidator भी, if company has been declared insolvent, the liquidator can be appointed and they can sell off the goods, even if they're not the owner. So children, we still have 2-3 minutes left and we have covered the most important topic of the day also and of your entire sale of goods also. This is one of the very important topic that we just did. Now, if you have any questions, any queries, it is your time to ask queries now. I hope you have understood it nicely and you can ask your queries, whatever you want to ask. Isha Pandit say, yes, ma'am, it's so clear. Thank you so much. Mr. Bijay Gaurav, you can ask what you have not understood. Sehajpreet Kaur, section 30 and section condition as to title. You simply have to remember where the seller is in the possession of the goods. Ownership has been given to the previous buyer. The new buyer who is buying the goods is buying in good faith. He is not aware of the previous sale. Then yes, section 30 subsection 1 gives the right to the seller to sell the goods provided he is holding the possession of the goods. Thank you, Mr. P. Vishnu. I'm glad you enjoy the classes and you have understood. Mr. Navneet, why do you want me to explain sale by unpaid seller? We have whole full-fledged chapter of unpaid seller. I will explain you when we do that chapter. Okay, Mrs. Tapti saying it's my first class and it's so clear and easy because of you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Tapti Sharma. H. Om Prasad, please ask your specific query. It is very difficult to again go and find out the points. Thank you, Ms. Singh, Rajiv Kumar. I'm glad you have understood it nicely. Effect of estoppel, Ms. Manvi wants to know, Lakshita wants to know. Okay, मैं अभी समझा देती हूँ आपको. Thank you, Ms. Priya Pandit. Ms. Saima, exceptions means that these are the cases in which the person, even if he is not the owner, can sell the goods. तो एक्सेप्शन होता है कि मैंने जिस बात के लिए एक लॉ बन गया कि ओनर नहीं सेल करना है, अब उसने उसकी एक्सेप्शंस दे दी. मींस कौन सी केसेस में ये पर्टिकुलर चीज एप्लीकेबल नहीं है. मिस मानसी, ओके मानसी शर्मा, दैट्स ग्रेट. थैंक यू दिवेश, नवनीत. Miss Saima, you can ask the exact point. Miss Tejashri, Pawnee means the person with whom you have pledged the goods. So pledger, pledgee keh lo ya pawner, pawnee keh lo, that is the same meaning. That person has the right to sell your goods if you don't pay back their money. Mr. Saim, seller, when the sale is being made by goods by buyer, so section 30 subsection 2 apply हो जाएगा बच्चा. अगर गुड्स आपके पास आ गए हैं, प्रॉपर्टी नहीं भी उनकी आई है, ओनरशिप नहीं भी आई है, तब भी सेक्शन 30 सबसेक्शन 2 आपको राइट देता है कि आप अगर गुड्स बेच रहे हो, इट विल बी कंसिडर्ड दैट यू आर द ओनर एंड द पर्सन हु इज बाइंग फ्रॉम यू शुड बी बाइंग इन गुड फेथ एंड ही हैज नो नॉलेज दैट यू आर नॉट द ट्रू ओनर ऑफ द गुड्स. ओके, थैंक यू मिस मासूम. थैंक यू मिस वैष्णवी शर्मा. थैंक यू अंजना. थैंक यू भार्गवी. Yes, Mr. Sarthak said you can write in your own language also, and thank you so much. Mr. Sanjay, thanks. Miss Ekta Tiwari, I hope now you understood section 30 subsection 2. मैंने अभी दोबारा समझाया आपको. Miss Vagdevi, caveat emptor says that buyer has to be aware, so we have done few exceptions under caveat emptor also. So all those implied condition as to quality and fitness, as to description, sample, all those fall under the exceptions to caveat emptor. That means there the seller will be held liable if the goods are not as per the requirements. Okay, thank you, Mr. Sirvesh. I'm glad. Thank you, Vibhu. So, Mr. Rohan Kumar, when the goods are sold on approval and return basis, those 3 points you have to remember. Either he can give his acceptance, and you're absolutely correct that if before the time period is withdrawn, if he sends the notice of rejection or return the goods, then also it is valid. Okay, because that is again written under law that we have given you 3 options. Either you send your acceptance or you send your rejection, or if you have done something that is equivalent to acceptance, then it will be considered the goods are sold. Thank you, Ms. Vaishnavi Sharma. Even I have enjoyed the class with all of you while responding. Nice. Thank you, Ashutosh. Mr. Sayam, Samid, Nemagod. I hope now section 30 subsection 2 is clear. I just gave you an example again. Mr. Tanesen, we are again meeting for the next class where you are a whole topic of delivery and performance of contract of sale will be explained to you. Each and every section 31 to 44 will be taught. Don't worry. Time is up now. Agli class bhi to hai aapki. Sale by buyer obtaining the possession, Mr. Simon, it means that buyer has taken the goods. So what happened example is, A is the seller, B is the buyer. So B told him that although I will pay you for this water bottle after 1 month, but I'm taking it right now home. So they have made such kind of terms and conditions that seller said, okay, you take the goods home, but you pay me later on. So although I have not become the owner, but the goods are with me. पोजेशन का मतलब होता है कि कस्टडी में, मेरी कस्टडी में आ गए, मेरे पास गुड्स आ गए. अब अगर मैं किसी आगे फर्दर सेल कर रही हूं तो सेक्शन 30 सबसेक्शन 2 सेज बायर विदाउट बीइंग एन ओनर कैन आल्सो सेल द गुड्स if he is holding the possession of such goods. समझ आ गया? Yes, Mr. Ali Syed, you can write in your own language as well in your exams. Thank you, Sakaldeep. All right, children. Thank you, Shivangi. I hope your doubts are clear, all of you now. Don't worry, even if anything is left, you have not understood. Just give it a fair reading. Read it, what we have discussed in the class. Listen nicely to the recorded lecture later on. And then you can revise it. And still, if you have any doubts, you can come. Okay, Mr. Sanjay, thank you so much. Buyer will get the good title. Definitely, Ms. Sejpreet, buyer will get the good title if he is not aware, if he's buying in good faith and is not aware of the previous sale. Mr. Om Prakar, if the television has been transferred to you, ownership has been given to you and delivery is pending, that if any damages happen, you as a buyer will bear the loss. Okay, now those who were asking about estoppel, let's stop here and let's explain the estoppel point once again. Many of you have raised the same query. So if I am not the owner of the goods and my friend is the owner of the goods and I'm just visiting my friend on his shop and now my friend is already selling the goods, but suddenly a customer C came and I said, I am the owner of the goods and I started selling the goods. Now, if my friend being the owner remains quiet, it will be considered that I am the owner of the goods. Even if I am the non-owner, the sale will be considered to be a valid sale. Such kind of sales are covered under sale made by estoppel. Means my friend did not stop me by saying that you are not the true owner. It is assumed that he has accepted the fact that that person is the true owner. He is the seller, so he can sell the goods. Okay, Ms. Saima, I hope now estoppel is clear. Ms. Himanshu Gupta, I hope it's clear. Mr. Himanshu Gupta. Thank you so much, Sakaldeep Paswan. That's so great of you. Thank you, Isha. All right, children, I hope Leon, we will be covering in chapter of unpaid seller. Okay. Still, if any doubts are left, feel free to send them back to me. Thank you, Sudhanshu. I like that you said the class was interactive. Good. Thank you, Rohan Kumar. Thank you, children. Goodbye. Now have your lunch. You have next classes also lined up. See you all most likely in the next class when we meet. And we'll be covering the balance things which are left and we'll be starting with unpaid seller as well. Thank you. Goodbye. Enjoy.